Hello, board gamers. Today I'm going to make my solo review of SETI. The game is here. As you can see, it's quite large. It takes a lot of table space. But yeah, it was one of the most hyped game of the last quarter of last year, I believe. That was the release date. I don't know, it was different in different areas of the world. But yeah, for me it came like I would say December or something like that. But I didn't get it until January, so here we go. Yeah, it's a great game. I've only played it solo. I can't comment on the multiplayer, but the solo mode is really well done. And you can see that it's not just something that they just drew in at the last second. They clearly have thought about a lot of stuff, what they want to do in the solo, how they want to implement the solo mode. For example, when you start the game on something else than easiest level, you shuffle this deck and you randomly add one card to the solo opponent deck. So you never know what card it will get, and that will also affect how it will play, what things it will prioritize, and so on. You also have 5 different difficulty levels you can see here. So you have a lot of options you can do. And once the aliens are found, the solo opponent will replace one of its cards with the alien card, and it will then do stuff with the alien card differently. So they clearly thought a lot about the solo mode and made it feel like you are actually playing as the real person. The solo opponent actually scans like you. It advances on the favor track. It develops the technologies, although it uses them on different way than the human player does. But it basically does everything you do. It collects data. It will use the data. It will make probes. It will land probes. So there is just minor things that it won't do that human player will actually do. One minor complaint about the solo opponent, it will scan a lot. For some reason, I would say at least half of the turns, it will just scan. And once you understand how the solo opponent works, you can kinda abuse it. You can just let it scan some areas completely, don't even bother trying to compete with it. But some areas you can just kinda scan at the last minute and take the win on the sector. So you kinda have to play around the scanning, because if you try to scan with it, you will lose, I would say, for certainly. But if you just play around it, you should be okay. And one thing I actually dropped out, when you play it on like normal or hard difficulty, you are supposed to use these tiles to show some objectives you need to complete. And if you don't, the AI will get more cards and more stuff and more points at the end of the game. So these, in my opinion, they are a nice addition to the difficulty level, but they also force you to play a certain way. For example, you need to scan blue or red area. You need to go to Venus or Mercury with probe. It kind of forces you to play things you don't want to play. I get it. It's meant to be something that makes the game harder. I completely understand. But for me, I feel like I had more fun when I didn't use the objects. So that's something you can kind of decide, because board games you can modify as you want. But I enjoy the game more without of the objectives. Sure, they add more difficulty. That's of course nice. But for me, they just were like a unnecessary thing that it didn't require. The solo open is quite hard, and as I mentioned before, you kind of have to understand how the scanning works with the solo opponent deck. So that's one thing that will make it a little bit more easier. I would say that setup time is something like 20 minutes, and if you can just keep the game on the table and reset, it's like only 5 to 10 minutes. It's really fast to reset and play again. Play time is something like hour and a half, I would say. Depending on how fast you play, it could be 2 hours even. If you try to think your turns a little bit longer, maybe. But yeah, overall the game is really fun. I really enjoy it. It's not my number one solo game of all time, but it's really good Euro game, really nice. And the solo mode is really well thought. It's just not something they throw in. So that's really nice. I have seen some complaints about the components. They are just these, I don't know, squares or something like that. And some of these data things have some plastic pointing out. I don't mind. The game's on 60 euros, so I think it's fine. I don't have any issues with the quality of the game. It looks really nice. This galaxy that is turning is really fun. So I think it's quite nice for the price range the game is. And of course you have huge deck of cards, and all seems to be unique cards. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. But as I mentioned, it takes a lot of table space, so that's something you need to consider. Especially if you play it, I would say, with 4 people, you need to have quite a large table so that everybody can build their tableau and keep their things there. So yeah, so it's a kind of big game on the table. One thing many people seems to be complaining on the Board Game Geek is the reason that there's only 5 of these different alien races, and you randomize 2 of them to the game each playthrough. But I don't find that to be that big of an issue, because they all have quite a lot of rules, and they also have own decks they will add to the game. So if there would be, I would say, like 7 or even 10 aliens, it would add a lot of rules to the game that already have some rules to be learned to begin with. So I'm sure they will make an expansion and add few more, but for the core box, I don't find that to be any issue at all. I think it's fine. 5 is enough. They are enough different from each other, and they are nice twist that it comes to the play like end of the first round or somewhere around the second round of the game. It's a really nice twist that will always be a surprise what aliens there will be this time. So it keeps the game interesting, I would say. But yeah, if you love Euro games and you want to play a solo mode, this is definitely a good option. Really good game, really solid. So I would recommend it definitely, and I enjoyed playing it. So yeah, really nice game. So that's now for all, and thanks you for watching. Bye.